الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. In our previous class, we had begun reading what the author he mentioned, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, with regards to the narration of Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu, which is reported authentically on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and collected by Ibn Majah rahimahullah and other than him, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, "Inna min al-nasi nasan mafatiha lil khayr, maghaliqa lishar." That indeed from mankind there are people, individuals, they are keys to goodness and they are locks to evil. Wa inna min al-nasi mafatiha lishar, maghaliqa lil khayr. And likewise as well, indeed from mankind there are those who are keys to evil and they are locks to good. So the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says, فَطُوبَى لِمَنْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ مِفْتَاحَ الْخَيْرِ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. So glad tidings of success and goodness in this life, in paradise and the hereafter, for the one whom Allah has made the keys of goodness at his hands. وَوَيْلٌ لِمَنْ جَعَلَ مِفْتَاحَ الشَّرِّ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. And destruction and failure, and in this life and in the hereafter likewise. A threat of that for those whom Allah has made the keys of evil at his hands. So we have been reading what the author he mentioned with regards to this affair, and indeed this is an amazing narration for a person to reflect upon and ponder over, to ponder upon and to reflect over, and to think deeply about this affair. And there's a great encouragement here, and likewise a threat and a warning. There's a great encouragement in this narration, encouragement to learn the avenues of goodness and the keys to that, to learn the avenues and the gateways, the doors of goodness and the keys to that, and to strive to be upon that, to be from those people who are considered keys to goodness and locks to evil, and likewise to learn the avenues and the gateways and the doors to evil as well, and the keys to that, in order to avoid that and stay away from that upon insight, out of fear that a person will be considered waliyadu billah, a key to evil and a lock to goodness, hoping for this glad tidings from the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فَطُوبَى, and out of fear of this threat of the punishment and the hellfire, وَوَيْل. Yani, so this is the case here. This is very important, as the author has mentioned. In our previous class, we have began reading what he has transmitted from Shaykh Abdurrahman ibn Nasir As-Sa'di rahimahullah. And he mentioned about the descriptions of the keys of goodness, the description of the keys of goodness. So he had began mentioning that this begins with the most important of the keys of goodness is the beneficial knowledge and spreading that. The most important of those keys of goodness, the foundation of that is the beneficial knowledge. The beneficial knowledge that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and applying that and abiding by that and spreading that. This is the key to all goodness. This is the key to all goodness, because in the hereafter the deeds, they will be weighed. And if the deeds they are based upon that which is revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then they will be correct and they will be heavy in the scale. And if they are based upon something else or in contradiction to that or contrary, then they will be light. Then they will be light, even if they were many. Even if they were many. So therefore the foundation of good is knowledge, and this is the affair that comes first. Knowledge precedes every statement and action. Al-ilm muqabala al-qawli wal-amal. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has mentioned in his book, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. That you must know, meaning first and foremost, to learn and to know with certainty that there's nothing worthy of worship except for Allah, and then and seek forgiveness for your sins, as the people of knowledge have mentioned from them. Al-Bukhari rahimahullah, فَبَدَأَ بِالْعِلْمِ قَبَلَ الْقَوْلِ وَالْعَمَلِ. Therefore Allah, he mentioned here in this verse, beginning first with knowledge before statement and action. So again, this is from the most important affairs, especially in these days, whenever ignorance is widespread and misguidance is widespread, and confusion and doubts and misconceptions and misunderstandings, and the foundations of the religion and the base of the creed is widespread, even amongst the ummah, amongst the Muslims, waliyadu billah. So to be concerned with this is the first avenue of goodness, and the key to goodness, for a person himself, an individual himself, and likewise for those under his care, from his wife and from his children, and those who he is a guardian over, and then after that the society. After that the society. As for the one who is ignorant of these affairs, of the foundations of the religion, and the obligations, and how to perform them properly, and likewise of the prohibitions and how to avoid them in the proper manner, he's ignorant of these affairs, or is heedless about that, then he will be a key to evil, even if he hopes good. Then he will be a key and a means to open the avenues of evil, even if he himself he hopes for good. Because many people, they hope to have good, but they do not achieve that, because they do not know the ways of that or the details of that. So this is something that, again, is very important. Very important. After that, he followed that up with commanding the good and forbidding the evil. But he mentioned that a person, that from the greatest means or the greatest keys of goodness is to command the good and to forbid the evil. But he mentioned that must be done with gentleness. It must be done with gentleness and kindness, and likewise with forbearance and with wisdom. With wisdom and a beautiful intention, hoping good for the person who is being ordered with the good or being prohibited from the evil, that they will benefit from that admonition, and that they will go straight, and that the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be raised and be applied in the hearts of the people and through the lands, inwardly and outwardly. This is why a person, he will command the good and he will advise the people, and this is why he'll prohibit the evil and he'll forbid the innovation and the likes like this, hoping to raise the religion and to benefit the people so they can be upright upon the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He mentioned a number of these affairs, and this is a review from that which we read in our previous class. After this, he says, وَمِنْ ذَلِكَ بَذْرُ النَّصِيحَةِ النَّافِعَةِ فِي الدِّينِ أَوْ فِي الدُّنْيَا. And also from that, and from those keys of goodness, is to give beneficial advice, beneficial and sincere advice in the affairs of the religion, likewise in the worldly life. فَإِنَّ النَّاصِحِينَ مَفَاتِيحُ لِلْخَيْرَاتِ مَغَالِيقُ لِلشَّرِّ. Because indeed, those people who give sincere advice, directing the people to the good that they know, and warning the people of the evil that they know with noble intention and good manners and proper speech, then they are from the greatest keys of goodness as well, and the locks to evil. Many people, they may know that they're falling short, but whenever they are reminded, this is whenever it benefits. The reminder benefits the believer. Maybe a person in his mind, he knows he's falling short in certain affairs or in certain issues, and maybe he's battling his soul with regards to that and fighting his devil, but he's falling weak. Fighting the whispers of the devil, but he's falling weak. And then whenever his brother comes to him with that beautiful intention and that beautiful speech, and reminding him with the words of Allah and the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and many times that which comes from the heart, it will go in the heart. That which comes from the heart, it will go in the heart. And likewise, whenever a person is prohibiting the evil as well. Maybe a person, an individual, he's falling short and he knows that what he's involved in is haram and not permissible. And maybe he's having a battle with regards to that. But if his brother comes to him and advises him in a beautiful manner and the best way, with his good intention and the beautiful speech, mentioning the ayat of Allah Azza wa Jalla and the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many times this reminder and this admonition will benefit him. So this type of person here, he is no doubt from the keys of goodness and the locks to evil. And in reality, by turning away from this affair and not advising, whenever a person he sees the commandments being taken lightly, or shortcomings with regards to performing them, or they're not being performed at all, a person, he will see that, and then he will know that, and then he will leave a person upon that. This is a type of treachery and betrayal, that a person, he will see his brother and know that he's doing something wrong, and he knows that it's wrong, and he will not tell him and advise him, and he will leave him on that wrong path. Like somebody going down the street, for example, in their vehicle, and one, he knows that on that street there's a big pothole in the middle, and he'll see him speeding down the street going that way without making any effort to warn him. He knows he's on that path. He knows that the pothole is there, that he's speeding quickly, and he's on his way to damage his vehicle, maybe hurt himself, and he didn't say anything. He just let him go. So likewise, if we see one of our brothers and the likes like this falling short in the obligations, and so on and so forth, or not performing their prayer properly, or not establishing the outward rights of Islam correctly, and the likes like this, he has some misunderstanding or a mistake or a shortcoming, to not just leave him in that manner, but rather to hope good for him and to guide him and to mention the good that one knows. Hoping that it will benefit him. This person is the key to goodness. and likewise prohibiting the evil in the same way. Prohibiting the evil in the same way. For a person to see an individual, especially someone who's close to him and that he knows, or someone that he knows, even if he's not close to him. And from for example, the people in the masjid, that we see them daily, or he sees an individual upon something that is incorrect or wrong, and then he just leaves him upon that way without advising him. This is not proper. Rather, he should advise him. He should advise him in the best manner, with the best speech and the best intention, and likewise, in the best time as well. And likewise in the best time as well. Sometimes maybe it's not always best to advise him at that exact moment because of the circumstances and situations. Maybe it will cause him to become shy. Maybe it will cause him to become shy, or maybe it could be a means of exposure for him and the people looking at him and the likes like that. But to wait and to find a good time to clarify that. In any case, and to give the advice. So this is from the keys to goodness and from the locks to evil. So he says, وَيَنْبَغِي لِلْعَبْدِ عِنْدَ اخْتِلَاطِهِ وَمُعَاشَرَتِهِ لَهُمْ وَمُعَامَلَتِهِمْ أَنْ يَنْتَهِزَ الْفُرْصَةَ فِي إشْغَالِهِمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وأن تكون مجالسه لا تخلو من فائدة أو من تخفيف شر ودفعه بحسب مقدوره. And it is proper and befitting likewise for a person that whenever he mixes with the people, and whenever he's dealing with them, whenever he's living alongside with the people and associating with them, and in his daily dealings and affairs, that he takes advantage, the advantage of the opportunity to preoccupy them and busy them with that which is good. That he will take advantage of the opportunity. Sometimes maybe he's at work, or maybe he's on the job, or maybe he is with his family, and maybe he is in this place or in that place, wherever he may be, whenever he's mixing with the people. And maybe the people are being heedless or being forgetful, or maybe they're doing something that's not proper, or maybe they're doing something but they could be doing something better. Maybe they're doing something allowed and permissible, mubah, but they could be doing something better. So this type of person here who is a key of goodness, he will always try to redirect the people into that which is better for them and most beneficial, and to busy them with that which is in their best interest, in their religion first and foremost, and likewise in the worldly affair, and to take them away from being involved in those affairs that are not befitting or not beneficial, or that are not permissible. So this is a great benefit here and a great advice, that a person who's considered a key to goodness ينتهز يستغل ويغتنم الفرصة في إشغالهم الخير, that he will take advantage of the opportunities to busy the people with goodness. وأن تكون مجالسه لا تخلو من فائدة, and that his gatherings, and whenever he's accompanying the people, whenever he's in the company of the people and the likes, then it will never be free from benefit, and he will never just be completely the worldly affair and there's no benefit whatsoever. It will never be completely something that is based upon the worldly life with not remembering the hereafter whatsoever. And this is the case. He will always have some type of benefit to bring the people. He will always have some type of benefit to bring the people, and likewise lightening the harm or repelling the harm as much as he can. And many times that will be directly by forbidding that or prohibiting that, and other times it will just be by redirecting the conversation, redirecting the people who are speaking about a particular subject that's either not permissible, or it's not good, or it's not befitting, or they're on their way to that. So the person who is a key to goodness, he will see that and recognize that, and he will try to direct that conversation away to something better and something more beneficial and something safer for all of them. So these are all from the beautiful affairs of a believer in reality. He is a true key to goodness. So he says, فَكَمْ حَصَلَ لِلْمُوَفَّقِ مِنْ خَيْرَاتٍ وَخَيْرٍ وَالثَّوَابِ وَكَمْ اندَفَعَ بِهِ مِنْ شُرُورٍ كَثِيرًا وعماد ذلك رغبة العبد في الخير وفي نفع العباد. So he says that so many times has it happened or occurred for the person who is muwaffaq, meaning the one that Allah has given him tawfiq and success to this affair, to be considered a key of goodness. How much good would he obtain and great reward likewise, and how much evil, meaning much evil will be repelled by way of him and by way of his direction and his advice. Now he mentions a beautiful benefit and a key for this affair. He says, وَعِمَادُ ذَلِكَ رَغْبَةُ الْعَبْدِ فِي الْخَيْرِ وَفِي نَفْعِ الْعِبَادِ. And the pillar of this, and the foundation of this affair, or we can even say the key to this issue here, and to being in this manner with sincere advice with the people and redirecting them and bringing benefit to them and lightening the harm and repelling the evils that they are involved in. He says the pillar of this, وَعِمَادُ ذَلِكَ رَغْبَةُ الْعَبْدِ فِي الْخَيْرِ وَفِي نَفْعِ الْعِبَادِ. That a person, he will have a strong desire and hope for good. He will have a strong desire and hope for good, and likewise a strong desire and hope to benefit the people. To benefit the people. So he himself, he's hoping for good. He desires good. He wants it. It's in his heart. This is what he's looking for. This is what he's after. He's not looking for evil. He's not looking for problems. He's not looking for troubles. He's not looking for quarrels and arguments. He's not looking for debates. He's not looking to overpower the people, overcome them in argument or debate. He's not looking to manipulate them or to use them or to benefit from them in this manner like this. Rather, he's looking for goodness. He's looking for goodness for himself and for the people. For himself and for the people. In this manner, this is the foundation of this affair. And this, wallahu alam, is clarified in the hadith of Anas, radiyallahu anhu, which is muttafaqun alayhi. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That not one of you truly believes that he loves for his brother, and that he loves for his brother that which he loves for himself. So a person, he loves good for himself, and he loves that, he will be far from evil and hardship and difficulty. So therefore, to love that for his brothers too, from the believers. This is from the foundations of goodness, and this is a key and a pillar to this affair. So it goes back here. Likewise, Allah, He mentioned or referred to the likes of this. And what is being discussed now is the intention. What does a person want? The raghbah is in the heart. It's from the a'mal al-qulub. The raghbah is from the actions of the heart. And it's proceeding from what a person he wants. And the raghbah is like the raja. It's like the raja. It's like the hope. The hope is from the irada. What does he want? What does he hope for? What is he looking for? What does he want to obtain? This is a raghbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned that whenever the husband and the wife, they fall out and they have a dispute, and they can't resolve that they should get a judge from his side and from her side, and then they should try to rectify that affair. But there's a great benefit in this verse. Allah, He says, فَإِنْ يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. That if they want rectification, then Allah will rectify between the two of them. So it goes back to what a person wants. If a person, he wants good, then he will find that. If a person, he wants to be safe from evil, then he'll be safe from that. مَنْ تَحَرَّ الْخَيْرَ يُعْطَى وَمَنْ تَبَقَّ الشَّرَّ يُوقَى. It's come in the narrations. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَمَنْ تَحَرَّ الْخَيْرَ يُعْطَى. That whoever seeks and pursues the goodness, it will be given to him. وَمَنْ تَبَقَّ الشَّرَّ يُوقَى. And whoever is cautious from the evil, then he will be safe from that. He will be safe from that. So this is the case here, to want good for oneself and for others. This is the key, to have a good intention. To have a good intention. To not have a bad intention. So he says, فَمَتَى كَانَتَ الرَّغْبَةُ فِي الْخَيْرِ نَسْبَ عَيْنَيْهِ وَنِيَّتُهُ مُصَمِّمَةً عَلَى السَّعِي بِحَسَبِ إِمْكَانِهِ وَاسْتَعَانَ بِاللَّهِ فِي ذَلِكَ وَأَتَى الْأُمُورَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا وَمُنَاسَبَاتِهَا فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَزَالُ يَكْسِبُ خَيْرًا وَيَغْنَمُ ثَوَابًا. So now Shaykh Sa'di, he says, rahimahullah. So whenever a person, his hope, he's hoping for goodness, this is the focus of his eye. And this is what he's focusing for. This is what he's looking for. This is what he's after. Goodness in the religion and in the worldly life. Goodness, again, is clarified in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we have a statement in these lands that we say, everything that glitters is not gold. Everything that glitters is not gold. So we shouldn't misunderstand the meaning of goodness. Sometimes the word khayr, it means goodness. Other times it means wealth. Other times it means prosperity. So what is intended here? The goodness according to the legislation of Allah. So maybe somebody will have lots of wealth, but there's no good in that. And the way that he earned that is not good. And the outcome of that is not good. So when we say goodness according to the legislation of Allah. So whenever his desire for this goodness here, goodness, that which is pleasing to Allah from this life and from the hereafter, is the focal point of his eyes, and his intention is determined and set on this affair, and striving as much as he can, and he seeks the help and the aid of Allah, and he takes the means that are proper to these affairs, and he follows the proper methodology and path. Then in this manner he will continue to obtain good and a great reward. So he's mentioning a number of affairs here. First, that the focus of a person's intention, it must be directed entirely upon goodness. He wants to obtain goodness. This is what he wants in his heart. And then his intention likewise, he has determination that he's going to do everything he can, everything he can, and that's allowed for him and permissible, and his ability, he's going to try to do that. He's going to make that effort. And so first and foremost, he has the intention for goodness. And number two, he's going to make the effort. And number two, he's going to make the effort. He's going to strive. He's not going to be lazy. He's not going to be helpless. He's not going to have kasal and ajiz, which is the keys to hirman, which we have seen previously. And so he's mentioning here now again more keys to this affair and foundations. First, to desire the good and make that the focal point and the aim of a person. And then after that, to not be lazy and to not be helpless, but rather to also have strong determination that a person, he's going to work upon that to the best of his ability. He's going to work upon that to the best of his ability, and along with that, he's going to seek the aid and the help of Allah, meaning he's not going to trust his own actions or trust his own plotting and trust his own planning. He's not going to rely upon his cleverness or on his own wit or on his knowledge. Rather, he's going to use what Allah has given him and take those means, all the while putting his faith and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he's going to come to the affairs from the proper avenues. And this is very important likewise. Sometimes people, they want to hasten to the good, and they will take shortcuts. They'll try to go to the back door, or they'll try to go around certain issues that are requirements. And in order to obtain any of this in the proper manner, there are ways and avenues that are legislated in the religion, and likewise there are ways and avenues that Allah has decreed to obtain goodness and to be safe from evil. So to try to go around these ways and to take shortcuts, many times this will cause a person to fail. So a person has to come to the affairs in the proper manner. In the proper manner. وليس البر بأن تأتوا البيوت من ظهورها ولكن البر من اتقى وأتوا البيوت من أبوابها واتقوا الله. And this is what he's referring to here, this verse in Surah Al-Baqarah. Coming to the doors, don't go to the back door. Many of the people of not, as I mentioned, this is approaching the affairs in the proper manner. Approaching the affairs in the proper manner. If you want to get knowledge, for example, and you want to have great benefit, then you will not begin studying the books, the major books, before first getting a foundation. You will not jump over here and before first studying here. Same thing in the worldly affairs. Somebody who will not try to go to college and he didn't graduate grade school. They will never let him do that. That's not the avenues and the proper ways. And likewise, in order to do things in this life as well. Many times people, they will try to hasten and you wind up doing things that are wrong or doing things that are impermissible. Even sometimes they'll worship Allah while they're disobeying Him. For example, a woman, she doesn't have a mahram. She has her money and she has the ability, but she doesn't have a mahram to make hajj, and she'll go by herself. So therefore she'll disobey Allah by traveling by herself. By traveling by herself to go make hajj, she's disobeying Allah in order to make hajj, to fill a pillar of Al-Islam. The people of knowledge, they say she's sinning here, but her hajj will be considered correct. But this is not going by the proper means and proper ways. This is not going by the proper means and the proper ways. Other times people, they want to go seek knowledge overseas. So they'll go overseas, and then whenever they get to these particular countries, they'll sign contracts and visas that will allow them in. And then they will stay over those visas and violate them and hide from the authorities and the likes like this in order to seek knowledge. Seeking knowledge is from the greatest of deeds and from the greatest of actions. But a person, he will not violate contracts and lie and deceive. In order to do that, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim." The Muslims, they abide by their conditions. So if a person, he goes overseas to seek knowledge, and then he signs a contract with that particular country or the visa and the likes like this, that he will renew his visa at this time, or he will not stay over this time, and the likes like this, and then he violates that intentionally with the claim that he's going to seek knowledge. Wallahu alam, this is not allowed. This is not allowed. This is going through the affair. This is taking the wrong door, the wrong avenue, the wrong means. So a person, he has to take those means, and he has to strive and make that effort and be determined and seek the help of Allah, and then take the avenues that are proper and allowed for him. In this manner, he will continue to obtain good. He will continue to obtain good. The author, he says, ثُمَّ قَالَ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهِ فِي بَيَانِ أَوْصَافِ مَفَاتِيحِ الشَّرِّ. And then As-Sa'di, rahimahullah, he mentioned now, clarifying the descriptions of the keys to evil. He says, وَضِدُّ ذَلِكَ عَدَمُ رَغْبَةِ الْعَبْدِ فِي الْخَيْرِ يُفَوِّتُهُ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. And contrary to that is that a person, he will not desire or have hopes in his heart to obtain the goodness. And he will not have strong hope for that. He will not have strong hope for that. The people of knowledge, they mention, أَصْلُ الْعِلْمِ الرَّغْبَةِ أَصْلُ الْعِلْمِ. And as he said before, the greatest of those keys to goodness is beneficial knowledge and spreading that. So before you can spread it, you have to obtain it. What is the asl and the foundation, the fundamental principle with regards to obtaining knowledge? Ar-raghba. Asl al-ilmi ar-raghba. Wa thamaratuhu as-sa'ada. And the foundation of knowledge and obtaining that is to have strong desire for it. To have strong desire to learn. To want to learn. To want to know the truth. To want to know the way that's pleasing to Allah. To have a fervent desire in the heart, carrying a person. To want to know the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order to apply that. To want that in the heart. This one here, this raghba, تحمله على المشاق في سبيل طالب العلم. This strong desire here will carry him to bear the hardships and difficulties on the path of seeking knowledge. As for if the person, his raghba is weak, then the first time some problem happens, or the first time he doesn't have enough money, or the first time some issue happens in the path of seeking knowledge, he'll give up. He'll give up and go home, or he'll stop. The first time he memorized and then he forgot, or the teacher asked him a question he didn't know, or the first problem that he faces in the path of seeking knowledge, he will not be able to continue because he doesn't have strong raghbah. He doesn't have strong desire. But whenever the desire is strong, this is the means that will carry him. As for contrary to that, يعني ضد ذلك عدم رغبة رغبة العبد في الخير. Then the contrary to that is the person, he will not have strong desire to have the good. يفوّتُهُ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. This will cause him to miss out on much goodness. This bad intention or this weakness in the heart, and he doesn't have a strong heart. He doesn't have a strong heart. A strong heart has a strong desire for goodness. This is called strong heart. He wants goodness. He hopes for that. So therefore he'll work for that. As for if that's not there, this will be a means to cause him to miss out on much goodness. فإن كان مع ذلك عادما للنصح للعباد لا يكسل نفعهم بوجه من الوجوه وربما قصد إضرارهم وغشهم لأغراض نفسية أو عقائد فاسدة فقد أتى بالسبب الأعظم لحصول المضارات وتفويت الخيرات. He said, and along with that, meaning if on top of that a person, he didn't have strong desire for goodness, if along with that he also was not from those people who advise the slaves, he does not advise the people, he does not intend to benefit them whatsoever, and he's selfish, he's greedy, he does not ever think about others whatsoever, he's not trying to help them or to advise them or to direct them or cooperate with them for their best interest, it's only his best interest and the likes like this. And he says maybe even instead of not only will he not have any advice or sincere advice, not have any sincere advice for the people, likewise, nor would he intend to benefit them whatsoever. Even more than that, sometimes maybe he would intend to harm them or to deceive them or to trick them for personal gains and benefits, or because of corrupt creed or understanding and the religion and the likes like this, corrupt intentions. And this person here, he has come with the greatest means to bring about harm and to miss out on much goodness. وكان هذا الذي يصدق عليه أنه مفتاح للشر مغلاق للخير. And this individual here, he is the one, it's proper that he is considered someone who is a key to evil and a lock to good. فنعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. So the Shaykh, he says, now we seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and the evil of our bad deeds and actions. This was the end of that statement here. Now he says, وقال رحمه الله في خطبة بليغة له عن مفاتيح الخير والشر. Now Shaykh Abdul Razak, Hafidhullah, he mentions now that transmitting now a khutbah, a very amazing and great and beneficial khutbah of Shaykh Abdul Rahman ibn Nasir As-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala about the keys of goodness and the keys of evil. So in this khutbah by Shaykh Sa'di, he says, فَكُونُوا رَحِمَكُمُ اللَّهِ مَفَاتِيحَ لِلْخَيْرَاتِ مَغَالِيقَ لِلشُّرُورِ وَالْآفَاتِ. He said, so that you should be, brothers, may Allah have mercy on you, keys to goodness and locks to evil and to all evils and to ills. فمن كانت منكم مخلصا لله ناصحا لعباد الله سعيا في الخير بحسب إمكانه فذاك مفتاح للخير حائز للسعادة. So whoever from amongst you is sincere and truthful with Allah and giving sincere advice to the slaves of Allah and hastening and striving and working in the goodness according to his ability and as much as he can, then this person here, he's considered a key to goodness and he will obtain happiness and delight. وَمَنْ كَانَ بِخِلَافِ ذَلِكَ فَهُوَ مِغْلَاقٌ لِلْخَيْرِ. And whoever who is contrary to this, then he will be considered a lock to goodness. Whoever is contrary to that, meaning he's not sincere with Allah, or he's not advising sincerely the people, or he's not hastening in the goodness as much as he can, or and the likes, then he will be contrary to that. Rather, he will be a lock to goodness, and for himself and for others. For himself and for others. Many times the goodness will be in front of him, but he's not sincere. Rather, he's insincere. So therefore, he will not obtain the good of that. Or there's good in front of him, but he does not cooperate with the people and advise them in the best manner. So those avenues will be locked in front of his face. Or he doesn't hasten as much as he can. He's lazy or he's helpless. And if there's avenues of goodness awaiting him, he has the ability, he doesn't take advantage of that. Therefore, that good is locked in his face. It's locked in his face. So it's as if he's a lock to goodness by not and he fulfilling these particular traits and characteristics. He says, وَقَدْ تَحَقَّقَتْ لَهُ الشَّقَاوَةِ. And this person here, يعني وَمَنْ كَانَ بِخِلَافِ ذَلِكَ فَهُوَ مِغْلَاقٌ لِلْخَيْرِ وَقَدْ تَحَقَّقَتْ لَهُ الشَّقَاوَةِ. And then whoever is contrary to that, then this person, he will be considered a key, he will be considered a lock to goodness, and his misery will be actualized and realized. وَلِيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ. من الناس من إذا اجتمع بهم في مجالسهم حرص على إشغالهم فيما ينفعهم في دينهم ودنياهم ومنهم من يشغلهم بما يضر وما لا يغني فهذا قد حرمهم الخير وأشقاهم وقد أشقاهم. So he says now, and from mankind there are those that if he gathers with the people and their gatherings, then he will be diligent to preoccupy them and busy them with that which is beneficial for them and their religion and their worldly affair. And from them there are those who preoccupy them and busy them with that which will harm them and not will benefit them whatsoever. So this one, he has فَهَذَا قَدْ حَرَّمَهُمُ الْخَيْرِ وَأَشْقَاهُم. So this individual here, he has forbade them from the goodness and caused them to be unhappy and in misery. ومنهم من يسعى في تقريب القلوب وجمع الكلمة والائتلاف ومنهم من يسعى في إثارة الفتن والشقاق والتنافر والخلاف. He says, from mankind there are those who hasten to bring the hearts together and to unite the believers and to bring harmony amongst them, and others they are hastening to spread trials and fitna and dissension and hatred and differences. ومنهم من يجتهد في قلع ما في قلوبهم من البغضاء ومنهم من يلهب في قلوبهم الشحناء. And from mankind there are those who strive and hasten to remove the rancor from their hearts, and from them there are those who strive to ignite the fire of animosity and enmity in their hearts. ومنهم من يحث على الجود والكرم والسماحة ومنهم من يدعو إلى البخل والشح والوقاحة. And from mankind there are those who call and encourage the people to be generous and to be kind and to be nice and forgiving and easy, and others they invite the people and call them to be stingy and to be greedy and to be indecent and lowly. ومنهم من يتنوع في فعل المعروف في بدنه وقوله وماله ومنهم من لا يعرف المعروف ولو قل فلا تسأل عن سوء حاله. And from mankind likewise there are those who traverse many different avenues, many various avenues of performing the goodness with his body and with his statements and with his wealth. And others there are those who they do not know any aspect of goodness, even if it was few. So do not ask about his foul and lowly situation and circumstance. ومنهم من مجالسه مشغولة بالغيبة والنميمة والوقيعة في الناس ومنهم من ينزه نفسه عن ذلك وينزه الجلاس. And from mankind likewise there are those that his gatherings are full, and they're full and busy with backbiting and carrying tales and finding fault with the people. And from them there are those who they free themselves from that, and likewise those who sit with them. ومنهم من تذكر رؤيته بالله ويعين العباد في مقاله وحاله على طاعة الله ويأمرهم بالقيام بالحقوق الواجبة والمسنونة ومنهم المثبط عن الخير وأحواله غير مأمونة. And he says, rahimahullah, and from mankind there are those, just seeing them remind you of Allah, and he helps the slaves, he helps the people in his statements and his circumstance and situation to obey Allah, and he commands them to establish the rights that are obligatory and recommended. And from them there are those who discourage the good and prohibit that, and his situation is not reliable nor trustworthy. فَتَبَارَكَ الَّذِي فَاوَتَ بَيْنَ الْعِبَادِ هَذَا التَّفَاوُتَ الْعَظِيمِ. So blessed is Allah, the one who has varied between his slaves in this great manner of variance, and he has made them so different. And mankind is different, and in their shapes, and likewise in their hearts, and in their manners, and in their deeds, So this is an amazing affair, indicating the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jal, and that He does whatever He wills and that He wants, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then he says, فَهَذَا كَرِيمٌ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَعَلَى خَلْقِهِ وَهَذَا لَئِيمٌ وهذا مبارك على من اتصل به وهذا الداعٍ لكل خلق ذميم. He says, so this individual here, and the one who is the key to goodness, he is considered noble with Allah and honorable likewise with his creation, and the other one, he is lowly and despicable. In this one there's much blessing for everyone who is in contact with him, and the other one, on the other hand, he is calling to every lowly conduct and manner. وهذا مفتاح للبر والتقوى وطرق الخيرات وهذا مغلاق لها ومفتاح للشرور والآفات. So this first one, he is a key to all righteousness and piety and the avenues of goodness, and that other one, he is a lock to all of that and a key to evil and foulness. وهذا مأمون على النفوس والأعراض والأموال وهذا خائن لا يوثق به في حال من الأحوال. So this one, he is trusted and reliable with regards to the souls with regards to the souls of the people, meaning that he will not harm them physically, and likewise with regards to their honor and reputation and their wealth. And the other one, he is a betrayal. He will betray them, and he is not reliable or trusted in any circumstance or situation. وهذا قد سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده وهذا لم يسلم منه أحد وربما صرت أذيته على أهله وولده. He said, so this one, the Muslims, they are safe from his tongue and his hand, and that one, no one is safe from him, and possibly even his harm has went to his family and his own child. أجارني الله وإياكم من منكرات الأعمال والأخلاق والأهواء عافانا من كل شر خاسر ومتعد ومن البلواء ورزقنا الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. So he says, now may Allah protect us and all of you likewise from the evil actions and the evil manners and evil desires, and may Allah keep us safe from every evil, from every evil and every trial, and may Allah provide all of us with guidance and with piety and with chastity and with being content. And we say Ameen. So this was the end of the khutbah of Imam As-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala. So many benefits here in these words here to ponder and to reflect over. The Shaykh, he says now, فصل لقد أوتي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مفاتيح الخير وجوامعه ففي المسند وسنن النسائي من حديث عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه أنه قال إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم علم مفاتيح الخير وجوامعه وخواتيمه. And in this chapter, the author, he says, Hafidhullah, that indeed the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's been given the keys to goodness and that which gathers that entirely, and the means of all of that. And it has been narrated in Al-Musnad and also Sunan al-Nasa'i from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. From the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. That Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he says, indeed the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was taught علم فواتيح الخير وجوامعه وخواتيمه, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, indeed he was taught the keys to goodness and that which gathers that entirety, and the seals as well to goodness, the keys of goodness and that which gathers all goodness and the seals to goodness. And what is intended is that Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam every aspect of good, that he's been given guidance and direction, and the keys to all aspect of goodness by way of knowledge and revelation. The guidance that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was complete guidance in every aspect of life, in every aspect of life, with himself and his Lord, and likewise with himself and his family, and with himself and the rest of the society. Guidance in every aspect, in every circumstance and situation, from the time a person is born until the time he is buried, and even that which occurs after that, until the day of resurrection. It's all been clarified, and he's received guidance, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, so he has the keys to that. So now the Shaykh, he says, وَعَلَيْهِ فَإِنَّ مَنْ أَرَادَ جَوَامِعَ الْخَيْرِ وَفَوَاتِحَهُ وخواتيمه فليلزم السنة وليحذر أشد الحذر من البدع. So based upon this, and if that's the case, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's been given the keys to all goodness and the avenues of all goodness, and goodness and the means to that is gathered in his guidance and what he was upon, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If that's the case, then whoever wants to have that goodness for himself and the keys to that goodness as well, then let him hold fast to the sunnah, and let him be cautious in the greatest manner, and from innovation. Let him be very cautious from innovation. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ جَمْعَ النَّاسِ وَفَتْحَ أَبْوَابِ الْخَيْرِ لَهُمْ فَلْيُعَلِّمْهُمْ السُّنَّةِ وَلْيُفَقِّهْهُمْ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. And whoever wants to gather the people and to open the avenues of goodness for them, then let him teach them the sunnah, and let him strive to help them to gain an understanding in the deen of Allah. فَفَتْحُ أَبْوَابِ الْخَيْرِ لَهُمْ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بِدَعْوَتِهِمْ إِلَى سُنَّةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. So opening the avenues of goodness for the people and for others will not occur except by calling them to the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم. فَهِيَ الَّتِي فِيهَا جَوَامِعُ الْخَيْرِ وَفَوَاتِحُهُ. And it is in the sunnah that all good is gathered, and likewise those keys are found. After this, the author, he says, Khatima, the closing of this treatise. إن من أنفع ما يكون للمسلم في هذه الحياة أن يميز بين مفاتيح الخير ومفاتيح الشر. That indeed from the most beneficial thing for a Muslim in this life is that he is able to distinguish between the keys of goodness and the keys of evil. ليكون في عبادته وعلمه وعمله ودعوته على بصيرة ونور من الله. In order for him in his worship and his knowledge and his application, actions, and his calling to Allah, that he will be upon insight and upon light from Allah. And in knowing these keys, knowing these affairs, to goodness and to evil. And this is how a person, he will have insight in the religion. This is how a person, he will be considered from those whom Allah wants good for. Like in the hadith of Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din. That whoever Allah wants good for, he grants him understanding in the religion. Any understanding to these keys, he will have the keys. He will know the avenues of goodness and the ways that lead there, and how to obtain that. And likewise, he will know the avenues of evil and the ways that lead there, and how to avoid that. And then he will strive and work with that strong determination and that good intention. Now the Shaykh, he says, وَتَصَوُّرُوا رَحِمَكُمُ اللَّهِ حَالَ رَجُلٍ أُوتِيَ دَارًا بها غرفات كثيرة متعددة المصالح فيها الحسن والقبيح والجيد والردي والنافع والضار والمفرح والمحزن. ثم أرشد إلى مفاتيح تلك الغرفات فلم يحسن معرفة تلك المفاتيح وما جعلت له. لا شك أن من كانت هذه حاله سيتخبط في تلك الدار وسيعرض نفسه إلى جملة كبيرة من الأخطار والأضرار وسيكون في أمر مريج لا يعرف ما ينفعه مما يضره ولا يسوءه مما يفرحه. So he says, now imagine, may Allah have mercy on you, the situation of a person who has been given a home, a great home, with many rooms, with numerous different benefits. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. Some of them are beautiful and nice, and some of them are ugly or lesser than that. And some of them are good and some of them are bad. And some of them are beneficial and some of them are harmful. Some of them will bring about joy and others bring about sadness. And then he was guided to the keys to those rooms, but he was not able to determine or have knowledge to distinguish between those keys. And all of these rooms here in front of him, some of them are good and some of them are bad. Behind some of those doors is something that he will cause him to be happy and enjoy or delight. to be happy and in delight, and others contrary to that. And then he's given all the keys. Here you go. But he don't know which key is what. And he doesn't know what behind is which door. And then you just tell him to start opening doors freely like this. Maybe he'll go in this one and see what delights him. And then if he goes in this one, maybe he'll see something contrary to that. So this is the example that he says. He says, no doubt, this type of person here, if he did not have the understanding about these keys and what they were used for or what they were made for, then no doubt he would go through in this circumstance and situation in much disorder. And he going through this house in disarray. And he will expose himself to a number of dangers and harms. And he was going to be in confusion about that which he's going to be in confusion, and he will not know that which will benefit him, nor that which will harm him, and nor that which will make him sad or make him not feel happy, or that which would make him feel delightful. And this is an example of that affair. He says, فَأَيْنَ هَذَا مِمَّنْ مَيَّزَ بَيْنَ الْحَقِّ وَالْبَاطِلِ وَالْهُدَى مِنَ الضَّلَالَةِ وَالسُّنَّةِ مِنَ الْبِدْعِ وَالْحَسَنِ مِنَ الْقَبِيحِ وَالنَّافِعِ مِنَ الضَّارِ وَالْأَصِيلِ مِنَ الدَّخِيلِ. So where is this person here now compared to the one who is able to distinguish between truth and falsehood? He's able to distinguish between guidance and misguidance. He's able to distinguish between sunnah and innovation. He's able to distinguish between that which is considered nice and good and that which is lowly and despicable, that which is beneficial and that which is harmful, that which is correct and indeed from the religion and that which is not from it, but introduced into it. أفمن يعلم أنما أنزل إليك من ربك الحق كمن هو أعمى إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. The Shaykh, he mentioned the verse in Surah Al-Ra'd, and the meaning of this verse, أفمن يعلم أنما أنزل إليك من ربك الحق, is the one who knows that which was revealed to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from your Lord is the truth. كمن هو أعمى, like the one who is blind. And are they the same? The one who knows that which is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the truth. Is he like the one who is blind? Meaning the one who doesn't know that. He's blind from that truth. And then Allah, he says, إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. It is only those people who ponder and reflect and take admonition, those who have sound understanding. Those who have sound understanding. So the people who don't know the avenues of goodness in this life from the avenues of evil, they're not able to distinguish that which is sunnah and that which is innovation. They're not able to distinguish between the details of tawheed and shirk. Then many times they'll fall into shirk while they think they're in tawheed. Many times they'll fall into innovation or into misguidance while they're hoping to be upon goodness, because they didn't have the first key, and that is the knowledge that is beneficial. The knowledge that is beneficial in order to distinguish between these affairs. So the Shaykh, he mentioned in closing, حفظه ta'ala, إِنَّ هَذَيْنِ الصِّنْفَيْنِ مِنَ النَّاسِ فِي مِيزَانِ الْحَقِّ لَا يَسْتَوِيَانِ. That indeed these two groups of people, these two categories of people, in the scale of truth, they're not equal. They're not equal. وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْأَعْمَى وَالْبَصِيرُ وَلَا الظُّلُمَاتُ وَلَا النُّورُ وَلَا الظِّلُّ وَلَا الْحُرُورُ وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْأَحْيَاءُ وَلَا الْأَمْوَاتُ. The Shaykh now closes mentioning the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, the meaning of which is, and the blind is not equal to the one who can see, and darkness is not equal to light, and the shade is not equal to the heat of the sun, and those who are alive are not equal to those who are dead. And those who are alive here has been interpreted likewise to mean those who are alive with faith. And the believers are not equal to those who disbelieve. Al-Ahya, yani al-Mu'mineen, la yastawi. Al-Ahya wala al-Amwat. Yani the believers who are alive with faith, they're not equal to those who are dead. Just like as the people who are alive in this life, they're not equal to those who are dead and deceased. They're not equal to those who are dead and deceased. So the Shaykh, he says now, Allahumma rzuqana al-fiqha fi kitabika wa al-ihtida'a bi sunnati nabiyyika sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh Allah, grant us understanding of your book and guidance to the sunnah of your Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَجَعَلْنَا هُدَاةً مُحْتَدِينَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ بِالْحَقِّ وَبِهِ يَعْدِلُونَ. And oh Allah, make us from those who are guided and they are means to guide others, from those who say the truth and they judge by that. وَجَعَلْنَا مَفَاتِيحَ لِلْخَيْرِ مَغَالِيقَ لِلشَّرِّ بِمَنِّكَ وَكَرَمِكَ يَا أَكْرَمَ الْأَكْرَمِينَ وَيَا خَيْرُ الْفَاتِحِينَ. And oh Allah, make us from the keys of goodness and the locks to evil by your bounty and your generosity and your grace, O most generous of those who are generous, and O the best of those who judge and rule. The Shaykh, he says, وَبِهَذَا تَمَّتْ هَذِهِ الرِّسَالَةِ وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. And in this manner this treatise has been completed, and our last supplication and call is that we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah we have completed any of this beneficial treatise. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us and to make the knowledge that we have learned together and reviewed a light for us and a proof for us and not against us. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.